Close your eyes for a second. Try to imagine the history of music without Robert Plant's Primal Howl, an immigrant song. Without Freddie Mercury's superhuman control at Live Aid, or the visceral, soul-shattering delivery of Janis Joplin. If you look back at the charts from the 70s and 80s, you'll notice a pattern. The lead instrument wasn't the guitar, the synth, or a program beat. The king of instruments was the human throat. The question haunting music lovers today is a controversial one, and for many, it's quite painful. Why does it feel like the legendary vocalist factory has shut down? Why don't we see new artists with the technical scale and stage presence of a Bruce Dickinson or a Whitney Houston? Has human biology changed? Today, we're performing an autopsy on the music industry to find out exactly what happened to those legendary voices. Before we dive into the breakdown, a quick invitation. If you're passionate about music, rock history, and deep dive debates like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon. Our goal here is to keep the flame alive for the music that actually matters. If you value raw talent, you're in the right place. Now, let's look at the suspects. Part 1. The digital crutch and the death of the era. The first culprit in this investigation is technology, but not in the way you might think. In the 70s and 80s, recording an album was an exercise in physical and mental endurance. Picture the studio, expensive analog tape reels spinning. Every mistake cost time, and time was a lot of money. If a vocalist like Ian Gillan wanted to hit that impossible high note in Child in Time, he had to deliver it, period. There was no undo button. If you went flat, you sang it again and again until perfection was achieved through pure grit. This created a form of natural selection. To be signed by a major label, you had to be a vocal athlete. You needed control, a distinct timbre, and above all, consistency. In 1997, everything changed when Andy Hildebrand released Auto-Tune. What started as a subtle pitch correction tool to save studio time became the very foundation of modern music. Today, anyone with a cheap mic and a laptop can sound pitch perfect. Technology has flattened talent. The biggest issue isn't pitch, it's the removal of humanity. What made Steven Tyler's voice special were the perfect imperfections. The slight rasp, the vibrato that wavers for a millisecond, that's where the soul lives. When modern production snaps everything to a digital grid, it removes what makes us human. We traded identity for convenience. Part 2. Where giants were forged. Where were the great vocalists born? They weren't born in home studios with soundproofing. They were born in the chaos. Many of the great American vocalists came from the gospel tradition. In those churches without high-end microphones, they had to project their voices over entire choirs. In the UK, the arena rock scene forced singers to perform in rowdy pubs with shoddy PA systems, competing against drummers hitting like they were in a war zone. To survive that environment without losing their voice in 2 weeks, singers were forced to develop technique. They learned diaphragm support and facial resonance intuitively. Today, we live in the era of bedroom pop with ultra-sensitive condenser mics that pick up every breath and whisper. The producer does the heavy lifting. It's intimate, sure, but it doesn't build the muscle needed for an arena-sized performance. If you don't exercise the muscle, it doesn't grow. It's that simple. Part 3. The dictatorship of the visual and the algorithm. There's also been a massive shift in what the industry values. In the golden age, labels looked for the unicorn, the voice that was instantly recognizable within 3 seconds on the radio. Back then, the voice was the product. Today, we live in a visual-first economy. With the explosion of MTV in the 80s, looks became important, but vocal talent was still the prerequisite. Now, in the era of TikTok and Instagram, an artist has to be a content creator first. The voice has become just another layer among synths and programmed loops. If a vocalist is too dynamic, if they go from a whisper to a scream in seconds, like Chester Bennington or Chris Cornell, it might startle the average listener using music as background for studying. The result? Standardization. Voices are processed to sound comfortable and linear. Extraordinary virtuosity just isn't on trend for a 15-second video. Part 4. Where are the new giants hiding? Now, it would be unfair to say there are no good singers today. Human talent hasn't evaporated. If you look at progressive metal, modern soul, or the indie scene, you'll find staggering technique. We have Lady Gaga, who proved she's a vocal titan once you strip away the electronic pop. We have Lizzie Hale, keeping the rock spirit alive, and Dim Mash Kuterbergen, whose range defies science. The problem isn't a lack of talent. The problem is that these artists are no longer at the top of the mainstream pyramid. Extraordinary technique has been pushed into niches, away from the spotlight of major awards, because society stopped putting virtuosity on a pedestal. At the end of the day, the 70s and 80s were a unique alignment of challenging technology and a culture that idolized raw, unbridled talent. We haven't lost the ability to sing. We've just changed our priorities. We traded the epic for the intimate, the organic for the digital, and the raw power for polished production. But what about you? Do you think technology killed the soul of singing? Or do you prefer today's more subtle aesthetic? Who was the last great vocalist to emerge in your opinion? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next deep dives into the world of music. Your support keeps this channel independent. Until next time, keep listening to great music.